Hey team, World Vision Washington crew. Excited to share this week's devotional with you. We're going to be in Luke chapter 15 as we continue to move through Luke's gospel in this season of Lent as we prepare for Good Friday and Easter, which is coming very soon. This week we're going to be in Luke chapter 15. This, for me, is one of my all-time favorite chapters in the whole Bible. I know you're not supposed to say that. You're not supposed to declare like favorite chapters, favorite verses, but this, for me, is one of my all-time favorites. Some people have described the parables here in Luke 15, which include the parable of the lost sheep, the lost coin, and the prodigal son, which some have called the loving father, the prodigal of the loving father, as Jesus, like the gospel in a nutshell. That these three parables are the gospel, the good news of Jesus in a nutshell. I'm just going to give you the first couple because it's a long chapter. I'm not going to read the whole thing. And for many of you, you may be familiar with the parable of the prodigal son. I want to invite you, if you've not just deeply read into that and allowed that story to wash over you, put yourself in that story, seen where you're at. Are you the brother? Are you the son, the prodigal son that goes away? Are you the father? Are you one of the workers who's just taking the whole scene in? Really dive deeply into that particular story this week. Find yourself in that story. I want to read, just give you some context of what's going on here and why I want to include this in this series that we're doing this year for Lent. At the beginning, it says this: tax collectors and other notorious sinners. There's that phrase again that we've seen over and over, that Jesus was hanging out with the wrong kind of people. We see at the beginning of this, tax collectors and other what Scripture calls notorious sinners often came to listen to Jesus teach. This made the Pharisees and teachers of religious law complain that he was associating with such sinful people, even eating with them. So Jesus tells them this series of stories. Okay, that's the context, is that the religious leaders are like, here we go again. He continues to hang out with the wrong kind of people, truly. He can't be from God. He can't claim to be the Son of God if he's hanging out with people like that. And Jesus gives, again, gospel, the good news of Jesus in a nutshell when he says these three parables. Let's just talk about the first one. It says, if a man has 100 sheep, one of them gets lost, what will he do? Won't he leave the 99 others in the wilderness and go to search for the one that is lost until he finds it? And when he finds it, he will joyfully carry it home on his shoulders. When he arrives, he will call together his friends, his neighbors, saying, rejoice with me, because I have found my lost sheep. In the same way, Jesus says, there is more joy in heaven over one lost sinner who repents and returns to God than over 99 others who are righteous and haven't strayed away. Again, you can read the other two parables, parable of the lost coin, parable of the prodigal son. But what seems to be the ultimate case here is that God is in the business of finding lost things. And when we say lost things, we're talking about people. God is in the business of going after lost people. That is a passion that God has, is to find lost things, to leave the 99 to find the one, to sweep and search all over until the coin is found, to look and scan the horizon for that lost son until he returns one day. And God is not only in the business of wanting to find lost things, but he wants to celebrate when his lost ones are found, when his children come home. Again, I want to invite you, as you take in this story, as you find yourself in the parable of the prodigal son, read that story through. Read it over and over if you need to. Find yourself in the story and think about in your own life. Think about folks that are on the outside. They're on the margins of this world, maybe in your own backyard, in your own community, or in our world, our greater world. And think about the extent that Jesus would go, that God would go to find them, to seek them out, to have them come back into the family, to love them and say, welcome home. And know this, he does the same for you. He does the same for me. He longs for us to just be at home in his presence, and to invite others back home as well. Have a great week, friends. God bless.